Hi students, this is your database tutorial video in lieu of class time for Monday, February 22nd. As you know, for the upcoming research paper, which is due after spring break, you must have 8 sources, half of which at least must be scholarly peer-reviewed sources. In class over the next few weeks, we're going to look at some examples of scholarly writing to help us talk about different academic fields and, how scholarly writing differs from, say, more popular writing. But for now, I want to just give you some tools to help you find sources to work with. So if you go to the Howard homepage, you can click on Academics. And then go down to the drop-down menu of Libraries. And when you get here, it might maybe get a little confusing. You may want to click on articles, but I would encourage you to click on databases and then go to A. You can also do database by subject. That's going to have some things, broken down by subjects. But for your first round of searches, I would recommend going to a more general database, such as Academic Search Premier. Okay? You're going to put in your, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if this is within the window of what I'm showing you here. But there we go. You'll just put your login credentials here, your email address with your password, and that will take you to this page. Sort of in the spirit of your textbook, the research process itself should help you narrow your focus and hone your research question. So if you're having a hard time coming up with some things, I really want to encourage you to know that the research process can begin before you really know what you want to write about, okay? So sometimes just searching through a few topics by using keywords here can help you see what the conversation is that you're entering and what you might bring to it. Okay? Now, if you're wanting to find scholarly peer-reviewed sources, which is what you are doing, you need to do for this paper, at least 4 of them, I want you to go ahead and click that, okay? And that will go ahead and limit those for you. So, if I put in here Appalachia plus okay, so let's say that I want to look at healthcare in Appalachia. See, and that even generated some topics for me. So I only got 4 sources, okay, which tells me that this is a pretty narrow focus, okay. I may have to look in some other places. Okay, but another thing you can do is that I can, or when I say narrow focus, I meant maybe a pretty underexplored topic. That's not narrow, it's just underexplored. But what I can do is I can come in here and I can even click on some of the subject terms, right? Just Appalachia, if I want to focus on Appalachia. That takes me up to 105 articles, okay? I promise there are more in the world, but we're just starting with this very general database, right? So once I find an article that I think I want to use, a good idea is to email it to yourself, or you can add to a folder and email the whole folder to yourself when you're done, or you can add it to your Google Drive, okay? One of the things I want you to be really clear that you're doing is that when you read the article, you either download from here or email to yourself the full PDF so that you can use the journal pagination. Okay? So I want you to make sure that you can use the pagination of the article itself and not of, just pages that you see here. Okay? Sometimes those will match, like it seems to in this case, right? But often your page numbers, let's look at another example, are not going to match Like it may be the second page of the article, but it may be, you know, the 50th page of the journal, the issue of the journal. So, for example, here, if I pull this one, okay, so I've got, you know, there are 21 pages. But I want to make sure I'm looking at the full PDF scan of the article from the original print journal, because as I can see here, page 2 is page 236. So when I cite this in text, I need to make sure, you know, if I were to quote, you know, assistance, or excuse me, if I were to quote this sentence, this disaster hit a region of the U.S. that has become the epitome of crisis, both socially and economically. I would want to follow that up with, you know, Shin and Coretta 236. Shin and Coretta being the authors, not 2. Okay, so many of you already know that, but if you don't know that, you know, you do need to follow, I'm telling you now, follow the pagination of the article itself and not what number, you know, like not up here, like what page of the article it is, but like how the journal defines the pages, okay? And we can talk more in class about why that pagination is different. I'll be interested to hear if you can tell me why. There is, in fact, a reason. There are lots of cool things going on here. I've shown you in class, I believe, that you can cite. You can click Cite and get the works cited entry by scrolling down to MLA here. But you do still want to proofread it for accuracy. Sometimes they'll put something all in caps that's not supposed to be in caps, or they won't follow MLA conventions for capitalization, which is to capitalize each major word. So, for example, they've got it capitalized here. You would need to make that lowercase, R lowercase. But the rest of it is correct, right? We have the journal name, the Southeastern Geographer. Okay, and you can see that that's in italics. Italics, listen to me. Italics. And then the title is in quotation marks. Remember we talked about in MLA, the big containers go in italics and the smaller things, the smallest things within them go in quotation marks. Okay? Then you have your volume and issue numbers, your year, your page range, the database we got it from, and the DOI, which is the Digital Object Identifier, which saves you from having to put a URL. So, this will save you a lot of time. You are welcome to pull your citations from this automatic citation generator, but you should proofread it to make sure there's nothing wonky going on there. Okay? So like I said, you know, don't feel like you have to have your path of research figured out before you can start researching, because a lot of times beginning to just look through subject terms and abstracts, like here, the summary of this article, can tell you whether it's something you want to actually look at, and it can also help you come up with additional topics, right? So when you click on, you know, these subject terms, theoretically, if my computer will work, that's then going to search for you. Now, obviously, you know, non-governmental organizations, that gives us, you know, 4,000 hits, so I need to come up here and narrow that down. I might add Appalachia, or I might add African Americans. But the point is, it can give you some different directions to go, okay, using these pre-generated search terms. If you find that you get too many results, you can come down and look at publication date. And depending on what your topic is, maybe you don't want something that's really old. So maybe you want to say, I'm only going to look at sources that were published after the year 2000. And that can be a way to help you narrow down, okay? Then, now notice when I clicked on these search terms, it turned off scholarly peer-reviewed articles for me. So if I click that, that narrows me even a little bit more, okay? So this was just a quick example of kind of feeling your way through the databases. Again, I recommend Academic Search Premier as a starting point, but you are always welcome to search through the subject-specific ones I showed you at the beginning, right? Databases by subject, right? African American Studies. This will show you some databases that might be good for that, okay? So, spend some time looking through the resources, the vast resources that are available to you at this wonderful university and through the larger Washington Research Consortium, which we're a part of. And you're going to find, that a lot of good information is available. Project Muse is another good interdisciplinary one. JSTOR, okay? When in doubt, ask questions, right? I'm happy to spend a whole office hour session with you helping you do some research. And it's a lot more fun when I have your search terms to work with, okay? So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, and everything that was assigned for Monday, today, we will try to incorporate on Wednesday, the podcast and the reading. So I look forward to seeing you then, and if you have questions or need to talk to me or meet with me in the meantime, please just let me know. Take care.